Here's a hard truth. If a man is not choosing you, it is because he is having trouble seeing how you could upgrade his status. Believe me, if he saw exactly how you could upgrade his status, he would be so quick to move that relationship forward, and it wouldn't be too long before you got that proposal. Hey everyone, my name is Melissa Rochelle and I'm a behavior transformation coach. So let's hear what this dating coach has to say about who should pay on dates.
Let's have one more question. We had this person at the back in the stripes. Yeah, let's hear from you.
Um, During the dating period, after like 4 or 5 months of dating, I just wondering at what point do you have to pay, did the woman have to pay when they go out? The guy is asking that there should be half and half at that point
At what point?
when you already been dating for 4 or 5 months.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, okay, to give you a quick answer on, firstly, I think we should just deal with the who should pay thing to begin with. When you're on a date, who should pay?
Surprise, surprise.
I know. I mean, that's what I told them. I'm sorry.
But-
I would say, I'm dating. We're dating.
But here's the-
gentleman here.
Okay. He's supposed to pay.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I told them.
but you're supposed to have sex with him whenever he says.
So in this clip, the woman asked who should pay for dates after they've been dating for 4 or 5 months. So I think it's important that we differentiate between dating and seeing multiple people and dating as in being in a committed relationship. Those are two very different things. So I'm just going to assume that because she said dating for 4 or 5 months and she didn't say my boyfriend, I'm just going to assume that she's saying that this is someone she is dating, but they're not exclusive with each other. He says that if he's expected to pay, then he should also expect sex. Although he says that kind of jokingly, it is something that we do hear quite often. So I drew my little diagram here because I really disagree with this notion that because he's paying, that she should automatically know that she should be giving him sex, right? So in most dating situations, men and women expect different things, right? They have different expectations when it comes to a dating situation. So typically the woman wants two things. So she wants him to pay for both of them, both himself and for her. And she also wants a relationship out of that dating process, right? But if she pays for herself, then she automatically loses this, right? So she's paying for herself, so there's a loss there, right? And she's also not guaranteed a relationship. So there's also quite a possible loss there, right? Now, on the man's side, he wants to pay for himself only, and he wants sex. So if she pays for herself, then he gets a win here, right? Because he pays for himself, and he most likely will get a win here too when it comes to sex. Because when we talk about modern dating, many women do think that, having sex with a man is a part of the dating process. So let's look here. So he only pays for himself, and she pays for herself, so that's a win for him. And he gets sex. That's also a win for him. But look here. Her side of the board is completely empty. She has absolutely nothing. So what is her gain? And why should she want to go through this dating process at all?
We're dating.
But here's the
gentleman here.
okay. He's supposed to pay.
Yeah, that's what I told them.
But you're supposed to have sex with him whenever he says.
No. Whenever both.
Where does this double standard come from?
This double standard comes from a patriarchal system that was set up and designed by powerful and wealthy men. And although it was men that set up this system, they also want to be able to scapegoat women out of wanting the things that they want, out of wanting the things that they need in order to feel like someone is worthy of them dating. So let's talk about a few things. Number one, a few things for us to keep in mind is that historically, monogamy has been an agreement between more and less powerful men, not between men and women. So this system of what women a man can get was set up between powerful men and less powerful men, not between men and women. That's number one. Number two, early Christianity appealed to poor men partly because the promise of monogamy kept them in the marriage game. So again, this system of who should pay for what on dates is all something that stems from wealthy men, from men of status. So this battle that we see going on between who should be paying for dates was something that was set up between men who had wealth and men who lacked wealth. So what we're now seeing is that the men who lack wealth are saying, hey, no fair. Why do so many women want the men who have wealth? But that's a discussion for the men to have between themselves, not a discussion for them to pull women in the middle of and scapegoat it onto women. Number three, men vary in their ability and willingness to invest in their children. So a woman should choose wisely. Number four, she should be impressed by wealth and status, or in the case of men too young to have them, by portents that they will be able to get them, such as ambition and industriousness.
You can moan at it all you want, but the moment you say to a guy, you have to fucking pay for my time.
What I don't like is the fact she said he's supposed to pay. That's what most men don't like. Most men are probably going to offer, but it's just the expectation that most guys don't like.
So he says that it's the expectation that most men should pay that men do not like. But my question is, what expectations are women allowed to have? Or should women through the dating process have absolutely zero expectations at all?
You're saying this relationship isn't equal. This relationship isn't equal. My time is worth more than yours, so you should pay for it. I wonder what paradigm that sets up. Here's my view. If you go on a date with a guy and you don't offer to pay your share, you weren't taught right. If you go on a date and he doesn't pay, he wasn't taught right.
He says that if the man is expected to pay, then that implies that the woman's time is more valuable than the man's time. But here's the thing, you guys. So there's this belief that's spread across the man world, right? That women have a shelf life, that women can hit a wall. But if women do have a shelf life, if women do hit a wall, then we are saying that her time is more valuable than his. So yes, he should be paying for her time. And here's a hint here, right? So if you want to know whether or not you reached your shelf life or you hit a wall, here's a very simple way to figure that out. If he asked you out, chances are you didn't hit a wall. If they want to make you believe that it's because you hit a wall, it's solely to bring you down a notch so that they can have access to you. And he also says that if the woman doesn't offer to pay, then she wasn't raised right. And if the man doesn't offer to pay, then he wasn't raised right. But that kind of sounds manipulative to me. So if she offers to pay, but still expects him to pay, then she's really setting that man up for failure. That feels more like a test to me than honesty. And when you're dating someone, it's absolutely important that you are authentic and genuine about what your expectations, needs, desires, and wants are. So if she has expectation that he is going to pay, she absolutely should not offer to pay. Her offering to pay is not really a show of politeness. Although I understand what he's saying, her offering to pay is more so showing I'm willing to give my resources for your time. But the ways in which she can show politeness is in how she talks to him and how she treats the wait staff in a restaurant, how she engages with other people. That's how she should be showing her politeness, not in offering to pay the bill.
I can tell you right now, if I was dating someone and they never offered to pay, I wouldn't be dating them. I can tell you that now. If they never offered to pay, I would not be dating them because I'd say, this is the most polite they're ever going to be. And they're not even trying to pay now. What does that say about my future? But let me come at this from a different angle. I will always treat my partner how I would treat my best friend. And I wouldn't apply a different standard to my partner than my best friend. I wouldn't say to my best friend, let's always go out to dinner and you always pay. I'd say, let's be teammates here in whatever way we can. And maybe, by the way, proportionately, what you can do is less than what he can do. That's a different thing. If he says to you, I want to go stay at the top hotel in Big Sur this weekend, and it's $1,500 a night, and you say, I don't have the money. It's his job to say, it doesn't matter. I didn't do it so you could pay. I did it because I want to go and I want to take you. Great. That's what that is, right? Or if you both agree to go on holiday and you have a fifth of his earning potential, you say, I want to contribute to a fifth of this holiday. It's overly simplistic, but you get what I'm saying, right? I will contribute on the level I can contribute. Let me tell you what means something to a guy. Trying. That means something to a guy. When he feels that you're not even trying to contribute, that's when he feels used.
I do agree with him on that. Men do like to know that you are at least trying. But the thing is that her trying can be shown in other ways. She can show gratitude through words of appreciation, words of gratitude, showing him that she is thankful in other ways. But she absolutely does not need to foot the bill in order to show that she is not entitled and that she is grateful. And this is the thing. Women have two currencies, and one of them is not monetary. The first currency is in how she maintains her appearance, and the second currency is in how she makes that man feel. So those words of appreciation, those gestures of gratitude are the ways that she can show him that she's into him. She does not need to foot the bill in order to show him that, hey, I like you.
Because any guy who's really confident and self-respecting, if the woman never is even trying to contribute, he feels like he's being taken advantage of. And it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with the lack of gesture. So I would be looking at, if you like this guy, maybe if you're in different positions, figure out what you want to contribute proportionately or what you can contribute proportionately and treat him as you would your best friend.
I understand what he means when he says that if she's not trying to contribute, then he feels used. But here's the thing, you guys. No one is responsible for the feelings of anyone else. Him feeling used is something that's coming from internal of himself. This has nothing at all to do with the woman. There are plenty of men who believe in, chivalry and paying the bill who do not feel used. So that's his own esteem that he needs to work on. This has nothing at all to do with the woman.
So yeah, what he's saying links into what I'm saying. It's more about the gesture. We don't like to be expected to pay. And her question at the beginning was who should pay after 4 or 5 months of dating. Should the woman start to pay? And I've said this before on this channel. If you've invited a girl out on a date the first time, then you should pay because you've invited them out. Like if you invite a friend out, usually if you invite them for dinner, you'd be like, look, I'll pay. I invited you, right? Now, if you've been going on a string of dates for 3 or 4 months and she's still not even offered or tried to pay for anything, then that's just rude. And like he said, any self-respecting man's not going to take that. He's not going to like being taken advantage of. And if you stay with a woman like that and you set that tone at the beginning of paying for everything, then your future is looking expensive, bruv.
So he says that he would not treat the woman he's dating differently than he would treat his best friend. I completely disagree with this. Is he trying to set up a friends with benefits type of situation, or is he trying to set up an intimate relationship type of situation? Those are two very different things. And there's this common misconception that because modern women make their own income, that they should be contributing financially to the courting process as well. And this couldn't be further from the truth. Women, whether or not they are making their own income, also desire to be courted. And it's part of their birthright to be courted. Part of the dating courting process is for the man to decide which women are worthy of his resources, okay? What this man is essentially saying is like, make it a little bit easier for us men, let us keep more of our resources. The women can pay for themselves. That way we can keep our options open and we can date multiple women, have the women foot the bill, and we can keep our options open. But if that man can afford to pay to date multiple women, he absolutely can afford to pay for every single date that he takes you on. The courting process is not about keeping as much of my resources to myself as possible. Part of the courting and dating process is which women are worthy of my resources. So what type of perfect system of where the men get the most while doing the least are we trying to set up here? So he wants for her to pay, for her to have sex with him, and for him to not have to commit to a monogamous relationship with her. What in the world are the women getting out of this deal? Again, as I said before, there's this misconception that because modern women, okay, have their own income, that they should be financially contributing to the dating/courting process. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, this is the thing. If women are choosing to have sex with men through the dating and courting process, then there needs to be a balance that we create here. And by balance, what I mean by that is this. Through the courting and dating process, if she is having sex with him through that process, he financially foots the bill for the dates and for that courting process. He cannot have access to her. He should not have access to her resources until after commitment, okay? After he's committed, after he's married her, now he can have access to her resources. Why? Why do I say this? I say this because the only thing in this world that men care about is one thing, and that one thing is status. They chase status, whether that's through women, how the women they date look, the things that they own, their houses, their cars. That's what they're chasing, status. And that status comes from how they look in the eyes of other men, okay? So if a man wants to be with you, he wants to court you, he wants to have you on his arm, and he wants access to your resources, then you must demand that he is decisive and direct with you and that he chooses you. But giving him the status without him giving you anything in return is just a major loss for women. Here's a hard truth. If a man is not choosing you, it is because he is having trouble seeing how you could upgrade his status. Believe me, if he saw exactly how you could upgrade his status, he would be so quick to move that relationship forward, and it wouldn't be too long before you got that proposal. And it can be extremely difficult to accept that we are not being chosen by someone that we would choose. But these are the moments where it's absolutely necessary that you practice absolute self-love and absolute self-compassion and just let that man go. Because just because he doesn't see your value doesn't mean there aren't plenty of men who will. So practice some self-love and some self-compassion. And remember that when a man rejects you, and in this case, rejection can look like simply wasting your time or not proposing, right? But when a man rejects you, it is not a factually based indictment on your worth or your value as a person. It is solely a decision that he is making for his own life. And he has the right to make those decisions for his own life, just like you have the right to live life on your own terms. And if you desire marriage and you desire to have a family, it is absolutely important that you make it known to the people that you are dating that I am worth more than what you are willing to give. If you're not willing to give, then you're not willing to get either. So please let me know in the comments if you found this to be helpful, and remember to like and subscribe. Thank you.